Exercise. Set a background video on lock to time on full screen. Please create a new section in our sequence with one background video, which should run in free run mode. In this mode, the clip playback does not depend on the sequence playback. Let's have a look to the different behaviors. Please apply a loop video on the sequence and add a pause cue somewhere in the middle of the container. Playing this back, the now pointer will stop at this position. Same for the video. Select the container and disable the Lock to Time option in the Inspector tab. Either you find the checkbox in the Inspector, or you use the toggle button in the sequence bar, displayed above the sequence. Now you see that the clip icon has changed from a clock to a running person. It is very important to not forget to store a playback transport key on the sequence, and that's a value to play loop. Please put this key at the very beginning of the container. Performing the playback again has a very different result now. The now pointer still stops on the pause cue, but the video keeps playing. So the playback transport parameter is defining the play state as soon as the lock to time option is disabled for the container. Without playback transport parameter, the video will not play back in this mode. To achieve the best results for the loop playback method, please ensure you use loopable videos. Please delete now the pause cue in the middle of that container, or shift it to the very beginning and change the mode to a play cue. Wherever you jump now inside this container with the now pointer, the background loop keeps playing back. One task is now to animate a graphic layer from the left to the right side of the screen. This picture-in-picture should be scaled to a quarter. Please feel free to take your time again and try on your own. Think about the cues. At the same starting time of the loop container, a new container has to be created. Therefore, just use a test pattern image, drop it onto the second layer on the sequence, and snap it to the now pointer's position. To make it a quarter size, create scale keys for X and Y at the beginning of the container. Select X with a left click. Then enter the value 1 divided by 4 to the value box. Pandoras Box version 6 can handle math expressions inside every parameter field, which can be very helpful and time-saving during programming. Repeat that step now for the Y key with the same value to keep the aspect. Next step is the animation programming over the screen in an endless loop. Let's open the position parameter in the device tree. Create a key with right-click in the X position line. Select the key and move it to the beginning of the container. Now you enter the start value in the Inspector tab. After that, you will have to decide about the length of the animation. In this example, I will use 5 seconds. That means to put the now pointer 5 seconds further. Of course, there has to be a key to drive the picture-in-picture to its end value. Due to symmetry, you can use the start value, in this case, minus 1200 pixels. and simply make it positive. With the shortcut Ctrl and Left, the Now pointer jumps to the start of the container, and press the spacebar for checking the final result. This animation should be played in an endless loop. You'll need a play and jump cue. Create the play cue at the beginning of the container and the jump cue at the second X position key to hit the correct jump target. Open the Inspector tab and select Cue in the drop-down list and enter the ID of the play cue. As a result of the free run mode, the background video keeps playing back smoothly while the Now pointer jumps back in time. Next topic is the layer play function. As explained before, it is only taken into account if the container is not locked to time. Each video layer has individual playback control for video and audio files. The playback section is divided into playback transport, speed, in and out point. The playback transport mode allows setting the video mode to play once, stop, pause, and toggle play loop for all of these three modes. The speed of the video playback may be varied by changing the speed parameter value. Slowing down the speed of a video file will reduce the frame rate. The in and out point allows you to define specific start and end points of a clip and will be explained more detailed in advanced training tutorials. Now I show you how to change parameters visually by interacting with layers in the preview interface directly. Let's have a look in the preview window. The layer mode is selected. The first button is Select. That means when you select the layer in the preview, a blue border will be highlighted and the related layer ID as well. The second button is for moving the layer in a plane defined by the preview viewing angle. Select the layer and move the picture around. You can also lock any axis by pressing one of these buttons. For example, X. Now it's just possible to move the layer on the X-axis. The gizmo can help you identify axes or limit movement on a specific axis by mouse interaction directly. The next two buttons are for the layer's rotation and scaling. To keep the aspect ratio, press Shift during the scaling. Using the preview has now produced red marks on the used parameters in the device tree. Select the layer, open the device tree. Here you'll see that the parameters, position, rotation and scaling have changed and are indicated in red. These are the same parameters which were used in the preview before. Moving the layer again, you can see that the position parameters will be changed once more. Enter a value, use the mouse wheel, use plus and minus, or keep pressed left click in the related field. All these red values are called active values in Pandoras Box. Active values are values that have been changed from the default values or have been changed from stored key values in a sequence. The most important thing to know about active values is that they have higher priority than non-active values. For example, parameter keys. That means the program key will not be taken into account if this parameter has an active value. This behavior ensures, for example, that incoming interaction values will take control over the timeline values. They also can be used to create keys on the sequence. For clearing these active values, you use the buttons Clear All Active and Clear Active Selected. If you press Clear All Active, all active states in your entire show will be deactivated, and the existing keys in the container are working again. The function Clear Active Selected just clears the active values on the selected device. On both options, the value of the former active value is kept for each parameter. Only the priority is disabled. You also find these clear options in the device tree by pressing right-click on the site, layer, or the related parameter. One step beside are another two buttons, Reset All and Reset Selected. If you press Reset All, then all values of your entire show will be set to the default value, including non-active parameters. If you change the play state of the now pointer, all programmed key will restore their value. Reset Selected will default all parameters from the selected device. You also find these clear and reset options in the device tree by pressing right-click on the site, layer, or the related parameter. Now, let's create some active values again. For example, opacity to 100. When you go back to the sequence and move the now pointer back and force, you realize that these changes are not stored at a specific time. All values apply at any time and have a higher priority than the already existing keys. If you would like to store your changes, you just need to select Store in the sequence bar. The active values are gone, and at the now pointer's position, new keys are created with the related values. The first button, Store Active, stores all active values at the current time, at the now pointer's position. And Store Active Selected Devices filters active values for the selected devices. Let's program a fade in and out with active values. After creating a new container, a default opacity key with value 255 will be generated. Select the key, change it to 0. 2 seconds later, change the opacity to 255 and press Store Active. With Ctrl and right, the now pointer jumps to the end. Please be careful, because by using the shortcut, the end of the container shows a black output. This is because the now pointer stays one frame after the clip when using the shortcut. Go one frame backwards by pressing the left key. Change the opacity to 0 and use the shortcut Ctrl, Alt, S to store active. Now, 2 seconds earlier, set the opacity to 255 and store active. Now you know 2 different ways of programming in Pandoras Box. You can use active or non-active programming, or mix them up. It's up to you to decide which workflow you prefer. Now I want to talk you through the device tree and its visualization. The amount of displayed layer is set to 4 video layers by default, 4 graphics layer, 4 audio layer, and all available cameras and outputs. A right click on the related site opens a context menu with some filter settings. Please click on Toggle Devices, Show All. The result will show all currently attached devices in the device tree. You have also the possibility to add more devices. Right-click, Add Device. You will find all available layer types. Or add multiple devices and enter device number in the field. The available number of devices depends on the license you are using. Pandoras Box players are restricted to a certain amount of video layers. Servers have no limits. In the help file you can find many answers to any question. Search for product structure and you will find the information. You can see that the Pandoras Box player provides 8, Pandoras Box Compact player 4 and the Pandoras Box software player 4 video layers. By adding multiple Pandoras Box software player dongles into the same system, each license will add 4 video layers and 1 output after restarting the Pandoras Box software player. Let's do some more programming. Next point is to improve effective work on the sequence. How to use copy and paste. Select a single key or drag a selection box for selecting multiple keys in the container. Copy the keys with Ctrl+C and paste them within the same layer or device with Ctrl+V. Paste point is always the now pointer position, so make sure the now pointer is on the correct position before paste. If you would like to paste the keys from one device to another, then use Ctrl+Shift+V to paste to a new selection of devices. Another option is to copy the whole container with all keys inside. Copy the container with Ctrl+C and paste them with Ctrl+V within the same layer. You can also use mouse shortcuts to copy and paste keys or containers. Use Windows established shortcuts to make your selection. After selecting all items you want to copy, hold down the Ctrl key while dragging the selection to a different timing and/or different device. Clip containers can be stretched in time by selecting the clip container boundaries in the end and moving them with the mouse. You can also select it and change its value in the clip summary, Inspector tab, under Duration. This is a useful feature to make timings and programming on the sequence more comfortable. If the container is in lock to time mode, you find the option of the behavior for the container playback in the Inspector tab. You can choose loop or stay on the last frame. If the container is longer than the loop, you will see loop points displayed. If you choose loop option, the clip will start from the beginning again and again. If you choose the non-loop option, the last frame of the video clip will be displayed for the rest of the container. If the container is in unlock to time mode, the length of the container is nearly irrelevant. You can concentrate on perfect transition timings or breaking points for your show without caring about the playback. As you can see, while jumping between two different containers, the video clip will continue playing as long as the texture and playback options are the same. To replace the content of a clip container, drag and drop the new content from the Project tab onto the clip. If the new clip has a different length, you may adopt the clip container length. By right-clicking onto the clip summary container, you can choose the option Adopt Main Media Duration to synchronize the container length to the new media duration.